Good morning, everybody. Little technical difficulties getting this all started. Not guess. Let's change that. Minis. Let's get this fixed. Good morning, everybody, or good afternoon for most people, or for Rich, good evening. You guys, how's everybody's doing? No sound. Oh, give me a sec. Okay, we're changing. This is the first time actually having a guest, so I gotta workshop in this live.
We have Josh audio, but not Eric audio.
Okay, there we go. I think
Do you have Eric audio?
now we should.
Do you have Discord feeding into?
Yeah, we
OBS?
should now. I can actually see it on my end now.
All right.
The stream's just gonna take a little time to catch up. Can you guys hear us?
How many fingers am I saying? I'm saying I'm holding up 6, but I'm actually holding up 5.
Okay.
Quiet. Eric,
Me.
quiet audio. Okay.
Bust you
That's
up all the way through then.
Boom, boom, boom. I'm talking, words, talking. Stephen Harris, come on. Thanks for clicking in. How am I doing?
Cool. All right. Technical difficulties handled. We're good to go. Good afternoon, good evening, morning for some. Well, welcome to Dungeoneers Pack Live. This is a weekly live stream where and then this week I have a guest, are going to recap the D&D news and discuss topics and provide insight to help players get into the game. I'm joined this week by Eric from Fryminis. Hello, sir. Thank you for joining.
Hey, hi.
Finally got your name on there perfectly now.
Well, I'm not going to say anything about it at the top.
Oh, yeah.
No worries.
Worries. All right. So, a bit of news this week. D&D news has been a bit dry, specifically for 5e. But the last week I didn't actually run a live, so I did miss out on something huge, which was the Tal'Dorei Reborn setting book being released by Daring to Press. Daring to Press is Critical Role's own gaming publisher. So they've already released Ukatoa, which is their board game, and now they're going to start delving into tabletop RPG books. This one is still going to be tagged for 5th edition. For those that have not seen the Tal'Dorei book first, they did release this with Green Ronin, but now this one's a whole brand new one, updating the setting, updating it with, I believe, after Campaign 1 for Vox Machina, and then also updating it to include the changes that were implemented with the Mighty Nine. It's going to be pretty interesting. I don't necessarily know the back history with Green Ronin and what they're allowed to do, and especially with wizards, since we do have the Wildmount book. I don't necessarily know the crossover, like what they're allowed to put. But big thing for players, 9 new subclasses and 5 additional backgrounds. And these are all probably going to get tied to, obviously, Tal'Dorei and Wildmount. And then they're statting each member of Vox Machina. So if your players want to be murder hobos and, beat up Grog, you're going to do it. Rich, I'm not necessarily sure how far into Campaign 2 this is going to deal with. I know that it's going to update to some extent of Campaign 2 to catch it up, but I think the way they're going to do it is Tal'Dorei Reborn, this is all base assumption, will catch up to the beginning of a Campaign 2, and then you're forced to get Explorer's Guide to Wildmount, give WotC your money, and that will catch you up to halfway point or actually a third of the way for Campaign 2.
Hey, so I don't know anything about Critical Role. I think I've seen like 10 minutes of Critical Role of all time. But I'm super excited for this book. There's one thing that's very clear as an outsider on all this, that these people absolutely adore the game and they're fans. So I can't wait to get that book. I'm sure it's going to be full of awesome stuff. And 9 subclasses, that's
a lot.
That's great, yeah.
I know a couple of them are going to be updates of stuff that was in the Green Ronin book, namely one of the most popular ones because of the show for Campaign 2 was the Cobalt Soul. So it's a monk subclass. There's going to be full updates on that one to actually keep it balanced, because the one in the original one was a little bit weak. So they're going to do that and actually streamline it. In terms of who's behind this book, Matt Mercer, obviously, but then Hannah Rose and James Hake, they both have worked on Wizards products, so it's in good hands. James Hake mostly worked on Explorer's Guide to Wildmount, and also did a couple conversions on D&D Beyond, but he's also one of the writers for Waterdeep Dragon Heist and Baldur's Gate Descent into Avernus. And Hannah Rose had a hand in the Wild of Beyond the Witchlight book, and she also helped write the Mythic Odysseys of Theros. So, yeah, like Mythic Odysseys of Theros is probably one of the better actually setting books out. Yes. That one was super well received. I'm glad. Theros is a really great setting for magic, and there's a lot of stuff packed into the book. And I'm going through Descent into Avernus right now, and I'm liking how that book's laid out too. So I'm glad that they have at least these 2 writers on this book.
Did you say Kobold Soul?
Or Kobold or Cobalt?
Like the small race? That's not Goblin?
Oh yeah, the other Cobalt. Cobalt.
Oh, like
Kobold.
the metal.
Yeah, the metal.
Okay.
Let's see who else is on this. We're seeing Abria Iyengar. She is the DM for Exandria Unlimited right now. It's the miniseries that they're running between campaign 2 and 3. And she's doing a wonderful job on that show as a DM, and she's gonna be helping write stuff for this. So I'm excited. And then obviously the rest of the cast of Critical Role is contributing in some fashion. A lot of them work behind the scenes for their company as well. So other than that, it looks like they picked up a lot of their artists from the community. Are going to give them professional credit if they don't already have it. And the art for this is ridiculous.
Yeah, I love the art in Wildmount. I thought that was a really great book.
Yeah, and it looks like they're continuing. Some of the art I think is better, more evocative than the WotC art put in some of the books. I don't know, like Forgotten Realms and stuff is kind of like a little plain at times, and like, this, well, all of this in chat can see like this one's really, really, really interesting. Very, very vibrant. It's alive. This is going to come out, expected to come out later this year, beginning of next year. I won't be surprised if it will come out beginning of next year with COVID and stuff, the way that's all coming together. Fortunately.
And this isn't a Kickstarter, right? This is you just buy it?
Yeah, this is just going to buy it. I know there's going to be separate release windows for it. So certain stores that are I think they're called Gilded with Darrington, the Darrington Press Guild, they're going to get access to the book 2 weeks before everybody else.
Cool.
So cool. Yeah, so if you're in the area, one of these, I'll pull those stores really quick. You can get that. If not, Amazon will have it 2 weeks later, and any other store. And also, Beetle and Grimm's doing like a super expensive version of it if you got the money to do that. I'm not that rich.
Yeah, no, those are really cool sets that they do, but yeah,
really pricey. So Darrington Press, you can go on their website, darringtonpress.com, and then you can click on the guild to see if one of your stores is going to get it. They've pretty much hit most of the U.S., the continental U.S. I'm very surprised at like the places in California. I thought there would be more, but as far as south it's going to go to L.A. So I know we're going to be near being able to pick that one up.
Anything in Texas?
Actually, there should be Texas. Here we go. We're going to go in Conroe, Terrell, Dallas, Austin, Houston, and San Antonio, another place in Austin.
Oh.
Plano and Norfolk.
Hey, shout out to Common Ground Games. Excellent place. That's a really great store. Lots of really great people there. I'm very familiar with that one.
And then you're going to be able to get this.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's just in the US. It doesn't look like there's any out of the country, unfortunately. So the rest of the world is going to have to wait a little longer.
Ooh, I saw Madness on there. Another great store. That one's in Plano, though. Nearby.
All right. Other than that's pretty much it for Darrington Press. But Eric, take it away with this next one.
Oh my gosh. All right. So I can't share my screen. So you're on that, I think.
Yes.
Very, very excited. Whiz Kids. So they make most of the D&D minis. There are a couple other companies like Gale Force 9 that makes official D&D minis, but Whiz Kids makes 99% of the official minis these days. And they've got a new line of unpainted, unprimed sprue minis. So what that means is you get a big piece of plastic and you have all the different pieces. So you have like a head, the arms, the body, a bunch of different accessories. So you might have an arm with a sword, or an arm with a mace, or an arm with a dagger, and then you build it yourself and you put it together, kind of like an airplane model kind of thing. Or if anybody plays Warhammer, exactly like that. And then you can customize it, paint it up however you want, do whatever you want with it. We don't have pricing on it yet. I'm a little nervous about the pricing on that. I think it might get a little out of hand, but I don't know yet. There are some box sets, so you'll be able to get I think 5 bugbears or something in a kit, or kits with just like one player character. And what's really, really cool is, so let's say you get a dwarf and you build your dwarf, but now you have all these extra pieces. So as you get more sprues, you'll have more extras, and then you can just keep recycling those into truly custom characters. And I'm super, super excited for these.
I'm
And they're also launching a line of paints, prismatic paints, they're calling them. And these are designed to be kind of like beginner paints, maybe labeled very clearly of what they are, nothing too fancy. And I think they're leaning hard on that D&D symbol. So when you're looking at your unpainted minis section of your local game store, and you say, "Oh, D&D paints, okay, I'll get those for my D&D character."
I'm pulling up the image right here. I think the big thing, yeah, you could tell it says a sea hag blue. So like that's gonna be the base color for the sea hag. That's
Yeah.
interesting. I don't know if they're gonna how I think they'll compete with other paints just based on name alone. But I think if you're super enfranchised, like you're just super invested in mini painting to begin with, depending on the quality of the actual
Mhm.
paint, may or may not skip this. Like if these are really good paints on top of just like the baseline, just entry level, I can see them like okay, like a painter's picking this up and be like, yeah, I understand it's a D&D, but these are good paints.
Yeah, Whiz Kids has done a lot of work with Vallejo. All their current Nolzur's lines and other unpainted minis are primed with Vallejo primer. So
Okay.
I don't know that this is like rebranded Vallejo paint, but I suspect that there's some sort of relationship there.
I think the
Yeah,
paints I use are Vallejo. And then
Vallejo's great. Personally, I like to use Reaper paints, but that's just because I've got a million of them already too.
yeah, and then okay, so I'm pulling up the bugbears. You guys can see I can't click on the image, but that is cool. Um, I just have a feeling this is going to be a little pricier than they probably should be. As kids, but oh, okay, I'm loving this. Okay, this one I can actually is big ol' it's a Baylor, I think.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, that'd be pain to paint.
Yeah. So so when you have minis like this, there's a thing called sub-assembly, where you paint parts before you put them together. And sometimes that's a lot easier. Like think of all the minis that have like cloaks, right?
Okay, yeah.
And how hard it is to get paint up under the cloak. But now if the cloak isn't attached, you can paint those both before you put it together. Very convenient. But a lot of these pieces, and a lot of people that are only D&D painter. Now, I'm not a Warhammer painter, but I'm generally familiar, right? Uh, a lot of D&D people aren't used to putting their things together. So a lot of these parts are really tiny. For example, there's one of the examples they've got is a kobold. And that kobold is composed of like 6 different pieces. So think of how tiny a kobold arm is, right? So you're talking tweezers and magnifying glasses kind of thing.
Oh, I'm pulling up this beholder right now. They have you
Oh, the
placing the
beholder looks
eye
great.
in there. That is sweet.
Yeah, the different jaws and
Oh,
so many
that is crazy because
so many eye
I'm
stalks.
already thinking too, like, okay, just seeing how the beholder is. Say you don't assemble this, but you still paint this. Like you can still use this as like a set piece. Like I
Yeah.
could see this using this like in
Oh,
a
build terrain with it?
yeah, built terrain with it, like a mad scientist lab. Like this
Yeah,
weird evil wizard is like disassembling a beholder to use it for parts.
yeah, all those extra pieces you're gonna have, absolutely. I like that they included a gazer with that, that's nice.
Yeah, I saw that right here in the
Yeah.
corner. Oh yeah, and here's some more of the hero characters.
Yeah, and so I believe these are set to come out later this year, called Frameworks, and I'm super jazzed. I'm just the one thing that could scare off people, would be the price point, but we don't know what that is yet.
Hopefully they're okay. Here's the kobold right here. Hopefully they're reasonable. This hag is at for kids.
Yeah. These are definitely aimed at more technically savvy, painters.
Stephen Harris said you could fill the eye socket of that thing with resin and make a beholder with a galaxy eye. Yeah, that'd be sweet.
Ooh,
That'd be
that is cool. Or pop a hole, drill it out, put an LED in there. That troll is great. I'm
yeah.
really excited for that troll. That was one of the,
Troll.
you know.
Man, I would have loved this troll for when my group was playing Ravnica because we dealt with a couple of trolls setting.
Yeah.
Pretty cool. I like looks a bit androgynous, so it's actually as a guy or girl.
Yeah. No, I'm really impressed with these sculpts. Obviously the picture in color is just a render.
Yeah.
Yeah.
People have better. I honestly do a better job painting than the actually
Yeah.
painted renders are.
Yeah.
Right. So yeah, look out for these. Honestly, the models look a lot like the Nosers models are actually already good.
Mm-hmm.
They're really, really solid. If you guys aren't familiar with those are unpainted sculpts of the pre-painted miniatures. And then for those that can't paint, there's the pre-painted stuff that you're gonna get what you get because it's pre-painted. But if you're looking for like specific hero options, there is the premium pre-painted line also. And later on, probably in a few minutes, we'll talk about other options for your character that if you're looking for something painted or not painted, or specific to what you need. And the last bit of news, D&D canon. This one's like the big thing that's upsetting or exciting people. Wizards came out and pretty much said for 5th edition, this is how canon's going to work. The basic idea is if it's not printed in a campaign book or any of their books that they release for 5th edition, it's not canon. And even then, the endings of how these books end are left to obscurity. So what that means is whatever happens at your table, when it comes down to it, that's what's going to be canon for your table, which makes sense in terms of the greater. I call it meta lore because there's the big D&D lore, then there's your guys' each settings, and then there's whatever's happening at the table. So the meta lore is not going to be influenced at all by anything that happens in a novel, in a video game, anything, which is interesting because one of the big selling points for Baldur's Gate 3 was that it's tied directly to Descent into Avernus. So Descent into Avernus, I think, happens first, and then it's Baldur's Gate 3. So now they're kind of backpedaling on that a little bit. But stuff like R.A. Salvatore's Dritz novels, they're not canon unless WotC says they're canon. And any other book that they had, they're not canon until they say it's canon, meaning it has to be included in a book. I like this. I think people get too hung up on canon. I know there's people that want the lore and want to dig into it, but part of the problem is when that crowd says, well, this is canon, this is the lore, everybody must obey it. And, well, at my table, I don't use Dritz, I don't use any of these other characters, I'm not familiar with them. I want my players to be the heroes of the world. These other characters, if you have these other characters, in my opinion, they take away from characters that are pretty much your players' characters that are the hero. It is the way this rule's set up kind of it avoids the problem that I see in a lot of comic books where they have to constantly reboot because your canon gets too heavy, too weighted. So that's why you see DC reboot DC Comics and change Superman's origin like almost every 5 to 10 years. Same thing with Batman. Marvel soft reboots, but it's one of those things like, yeah, this avoids that problem where the next whatever big update they do for D&D, whether it's 6th edition, 5.5, or whatever they're gonna call it, this avoids that problem where they have to do another reboot, destroy the weave, rebuild the weave, whatever they do it every time an edition comes out, and they just says, well, this is just a D&D, whatever you want it to be.
Yeah, I like the idea generally of what all this means, and I've always absolutely anything you do at your table can whatever you want, like completely ignore every rule and just play however you want. Totally 100% with that. But I'll admit I do like the idea of having an official canon timeline, kind of like in Elder Scrolls, how there is the timeline, right? But there's a lot of flexibility and kind of ambiguity mixed in with it.
Yeah.
I do like with my homebrew campaign world kind of stuff. I always like to build out a timeline, and it doesn't need to be exact, super hyper detailed or anything like that. But having a general history of what actually has happened, I do like. But I completely 100% agree that the main problem with all of this isn't having a canon. It's how people interact with that canon. and how they want to force other people to interact with that canon. So as usual, the problem with something is people.
Yeah. Yeah, and for me, it's just like I already have a problem with the base lore of the D&D game because it's so ham-fisted with Forgotten Realms. It's like super connected. Can't escape from it. Like your monster manual has descriptors of monsters that are strictly tied to Forgotten Realms. And for me, if you're going to do base system books, they shouldn't have any real lore attached to it for a specific setting. What I would like to see is setting books that have the lore for those monsters in there because it makes more sense. Also expands more options and etc. The base book should just be like this kind of just bland, like here's orc stats, here's the general thing. Or if they're going to do a monster manual book, they should consider like here's orcs in all these different settings, give you general direction.
I think what you just said is brilliant because like going back to also agreed one of the best books for 5e, Theros. Look at what they did with like Tritons, right? Yeah. Like it's still a Triton, still mechanically. I mean, they helped out the stat block a little bit, but it's but the lore is completely different for it. I think we did Orcs in a couple different books now with a totally different spin on them.
Yeah, so Eberron Orcs are vastly different from just like your standard orc. Like for those not familiar with Eberron, probably one of the most modern, forward-thinking settings you have for 5th edition, and they take your general idea of what you think of a race, play with some of it, but also modernize it and step away from like a lot of the exclusively negative aspects that they're represented in the base game, and make it really complex and new. Which is why I love Eberron. Like Eberron does that for a lot of races. Like orcs are an example. They're not the bad guy in the setting. They're the main good. They're a good guy in the setting, but they can also be a bad guy in the setting, depending on how you play it. Like I don't know. Like
I think that's a great point about Monster Manual should be a little bit more removed. I completely agree.
I'm hoping with the new settings and stuff they introduce, the exclusive new D&D settings they're introducing next year for 5th edition, that we start to see a shift away from like not so much heavy Forgotten Realms because obviously that's their moneymaker. That's the thing that people identify with for D&D, but they do start to explore more and start to shift away from everything is Forgotten Realms lore, and you need to buy all these other books just to get a taste of something else. Because what ends up happening is you get players that want to play the D&D canon lore. Orcs are always going to be evil in D&D, but they're playing Eberron. And, orcs aren't evil. Not evil in that setting. And it's like, well, orcs are evil in the book, so I'm going to go follow the base book instead of follow the canon. So.
Can I ask you a question about this? So your recent video where you're talking about goblins,
yes,
excellent disclaimer you had there, right? About like they shouldn't just be evil. But sometimes you'll have players who just want to have a classic kind of fantasy adventure where they can just go out and they don't need to think about the morality and the greater impact of things. How do you deal with that, or how do you reconcile those?
Those, I think, in order to have that, it's a situation where you need to have your cake and eat it too. Thing for the game. For me, being on the side of like things should not be evil just because they are, doesn't take away the fact that there's going to be evil things of that nature. So for me, it's like in the case of goblins, and then even the greater discussion with drow, orc, where there's problematic aspects of them because they're blatantly evil because of the characteristics that they are, and not necessarily what they're doing. Change the focus and make it that what they're doing is evil. That's the big thing is orcs are evil because they're doing evil things. Drow are evil because they're doing evil things, not because of their skin tone or whatever weird problematic aspect they want to attribute to it is like being that. Or so there's going to be good goblins, going to be bad goblins. Obviously, if you want to just go pub stop bad goblins, or goblins in general, will create a faction in your setting that there's bad goblins, and the reason they're doing bad isn't just because they're born evil or they're savage or whatever descriptor you want to tie to it. They're evil because they're stealing from people, they're raiding camps, they're hurting innocent people. Like put those things, make it complex. Sure. And even if you don't want the complexity, just have them do the evil acts. They're just not naturally born evil. If you want to add the complexity on top of that, find ways of why they're forced to do these evil acts. But other than that, yeah, like for me, it's like it's really easy. Just make it so that there's multiple factions, so there's multiple things. So like if you have a player that actually wants to play a goblin in that campaign, or you guys are just gonna pub stop evil goblins, they can be from a faction that is good goblins, and then there's the evil goblins they have to interact with, and then it kind of solves the problem for me. Like,
so you're rephrasing the situation a little bit rather than a bunch of goblins jump out from the bushes and attack you on the road to Blip Blap and his bandit group jump out and attack you, and they just happen to be goblins.
Yeah, and for me, that adds a more complexity and nuance into the game, and also makes it. A lot of people say when they do the unfortunately, one of the main arguments for traditional is that they want it to be more realistic. Well, humans, we are way more complex and nuanced, and what I would perceive as evil or mean or something is not necessarily evil and mean in the context of that person. So when you kind of add that complexity into it, it's good to build tension and drama. Like that's if you're writing a story, that's like cornerstone of like tension and drama, because then you're gonna have like these good aligned paladins where they realize the plight of the goblin who are blatantly doing evil stuff, but they're doing evil for a specific cause to survive. Well, the paladin has a choice. Well, am I gonna pub stomp these goblins, or am I gonna try to find the reason why they're having to act, and can I just solve that problem so that they can stop attacking the nearby village?
I feel like you're describing a certain paladin group in Baldur's Gate 3.
That's why. So like, yeah, and that's the thing. Like for me, it opens up a lot of complexity. Like, and I like that for my game where it forces my players to really think in characters. Like, okay, um, what's the actual cause of the problem? Is my jerk of a warlock still gonna do the evil thing and just wipe them out, or are they going to be convinced by the paladin player to, okay, no, we need to solve the real problem. They're being commanded to do this because of because some orc is coming in and oppressing them. So let's go get rid of the orc. They'll be free. That's for me. It's it's like what Rich said. It opens up 3-dimensional characters. That's the big thing. It's like when it feels more real. And if for me that opens up drama and opens up more storytelling options, more role play, and it could take the game in a different direction. But for those that just want the classic, very straightforward, simple thing, you can have it too. Just don't force anybody else to adhere to that. And I think that's the big problem. Same thing what we said about what you said about canon. When people want to interact with certain aspects, and then force other people to interact it with the game that the way they believe it should be, that's where the problem lies. For me, it's like I don't want to take away. I know there's certain people that are on this side of the argument that do want to take away from that and remove this classic and the problematic stuff. But for me, when it comes to heavy topics like racism and transphobia and implemented in your games, and you're going to use these topics and slavery, they just need to be treated with the respect and mainly the respect and the maturity to handle these things, because like more specific with stuff like slavery and racism, you're going to have those in your game. Those should be problems your heroes solve. They're problems in the real world. If you're going to play in a fantasy setting or when those problems are present, this is a good teaching tool to kind of interact with those concepts, especially if your group's gonna want to interact with those and teach each other something, learn something, and also make it a problem that they could solve.
And Stephen Harris reminds us of the single most important thing, covered all during Session 0.
Yep. And I'm a big advocate. Session 0 is a must, even if you have a group that you guys have been playing with forever. Session 0 is still a must, and especially for heavy topics like that. And if they don't want to like play those heavy topics, your group's perfectly fine. Yeah, just more so there's certain things that even people on, I guess, on this side of the argument where they want more nuance in the game. Sometimes they don't want to interact with it because they interact with those topics in real life, and I can understand that too. Like there's certain points for me, it's like I just want to come in and play a wizard and not have to deal with that because I deal with that enough.
And it's always okay to spread out more Session 0s throughout the campaign, especially when you're about to approach one of these topics.
Let's see that.
Positive encounters with goblins.
Approach this is how my grown-up group ended with 5 Cobalt Squires. That also ends up happening too. You see that happen a lot. All right, we're going to switch over to question of the week, and then we're going to get into the main topic. And hold on, let me... Cool. All right. So question of the week was... I have it up here. Minis or tokens, what do you use to represent your character at the table? So I asked you guys this one in prep for this week's topic. And let's see. Francisco Napoli said they use Hero Forge minis because we can screenshot them and load them in the tabletop simulator. It's pretty great. Hero Forge has multiple options. You can also do this. I believe they have a paid subscription and a free version. The free version, I believe you can still do this and then implement like the 3D renders into your game as long as you pay for it. But also they help you create tokens, and you pretty much can use Hero Forge as a paper doll creator. And and then pretty much use it for any way you're going to play D&D. I find that's really awesome. Jalen Smith, when I started playing tabletop RPGs, I use old Toy Soldier minis for characters. Now that my players and I are online, we use tokens for Roll20. I'm seeing this a lot since with COVID and everything, everybody transitioning to online play. Games are it's a bit cheaper to just not have to buy the minis and go the full token route. Plus, there's a bunch of awesome art that you could just take. As long as you're not streaming and playing online, use whatever art you want for your character. Jonathan Morales, I 3D print my minis. I don't like to proxy things, so as my campaign continues, I got nearly 200 minis printed and painted. It's become a hobby in itself. My friend that's in my Avernus game, he just got into 3D mini painting, and he started printing stuff for me, so I think both of us are going to be in the same situation at some point. Andrew Browder said, I usually use Lego for my character. I've seen this, and I've seen people do crazy setups with their Legos and use it to play their campaigns, but then also build like entire dungeons out of Legos. And then Hadurus minis, and Andrew J. Black also said minis. And then let's see what Discord popped in. I believe the folks on Engineers Pack did also.
While you pull that up, Legos. I've had Legos at my table, and I think if you want to use Legos, that's totally cool. But personally, it drove me nuts because it doesn't match the 5-foot grid or the 1-inch grid, and it's a incredibly small potatoes thing. But oh man, Legos get me at my table.
I can imagine like with the Lego setup, and like you're kind of gonna be. I've seen some setups where they're gridless and they still use minis, so I kind of have a feeling it's or like a cross between that and put your characters in place at a point.
That would be cool, but I'm a heavy map and mini person.
I'm the same way. My group has only played that way, so like busting out rulers and like doing crazy terrain with gridless would hurt the brain a little bit. Ebrav says, I used Gotcha or random art online, my first PC, and then they gave me a ton of awesome art that they use for their characters. So you got more of the chibi art, and went through every character that they've used, and then some anime art.
Gotcha.
Yeah, and more anime art with different characters. Thank you, Ebrav, for posting this stuff. Penny Pusher, they posted, they use dice. So I'm assuming they do more theater of the mind, and they just use different dice, different colors to suit their character. I still do this too. So every time I play a new character, if I don't have a dice set color that matches what I think attributes to them, I go buy a set of dice. Even though I have a mini for them too. And then Scale Thorn also said I use a combo of both, and by that I mean I'm a forever DM, so I never get to play. However, I do enjoy buying and painting minis, and they're always economical, so I use tokens or dice or combination of those two to represent monsters most of the time. Yeah, thank you, Skeletor. Thank you for everybody posting you guys' answers to the question. And if you guys want to participate in this and see your guys' answers on the stream, you can always just watch out for Question of the Week on the community on YouTube. Or if you're not in the Discord, join the Discord. The link for the Dungeoneers Pack Discords in the description below. And yeah, I post them there in a separate channel exclusively for Question of the Week. Again, thank you guys for submitting your answers. We're going to get into today's topic. We're running a little over, but that is perfect. We're going to be talking about many options for players. So I'm going to kick this one off. Then Eric here is going to share his. So the ones I'm most familiar with are Hero Forge. So right now on the screen, you guys are seeing my Artificer, my human Artificer, that I have yet to order. And Hero Forge is a great option. It's probably my favorite option if you're looking for something very specific for your character. You want your character to look a very specific way. You have this image in your mind. There's a ton of options, and then they update this weekly. So weekly, so like everything fully rendered. Okay,
which kind of human?
This guy, he was a normal human, but there's some modifications onto him. He also has a beholder eye in one of his eye sockets because he was experimented
naturally.
on. Yeah,
Dr. Doom, I see.
Yeah, okay. And then this is my Warforged from my Ebron game. As you can see, they added like the full color aspects on this that you can actually print in color now. So not just painting base minis. So if you go to the buy option, I'll pull up. There's just basic plastic, and then there's like different price ranges for all this. So the basic plastic's $20, premium plastic's $30, color plastic is $45, and then you can get bronze for $100. And then you get STL files, which are a lot cheaper. So those, if you have your own 3D printing, you can get your STL files for $8. They're sometimes go on sale, and they can go as low as $3 to $5. So if you got your own 3D printer, you can buy your STL files and just find a bunch of minis and print them out yourself.
And they have sales all the time for those too.
Yeah, and especially that they have sales a lot. And then also, if you have the 3D tabletop simulators, anything like that, you can also buy the file for that for $8. If you join their subscription service, you also get access to their token creator and also like their in studio picture thing where you can just take a bunch of pictures of your character if you're into that. Hashtag not sponsored. I'm just shilling like super hard for Hero Forge, but I'm not sponsored. But yeah, there's tons of options for this. I'll go through. Like there's human. Oh, let's do a new so you guys can. The only problem I think people will have with Hero Forge is that it's very cartoonish. So if you're looking for a more realistic look, you're not going to really find it here. But they pretty much have most of the 5th edition races in here. If not, you can combine enough features that you can get something. There's like 3 different goblins on here, or half orcs. You have halflings, half demons, which are just tieflings.
No kidding, Stephen Harris. So my wife had a Rune Knight, a Goliath Rune Knight fighter, and we had a Hero Forge made of her character in a couple different poses at medium, large, and huge.
Oh man, I can see it on the screen right now. That is sweet.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. And you could do similar stuff with random 3D printing, but it was so convenient with Hero Forge.
The cool thing about Hero Forge, they also have races that are not 5th edition, but there's enough options to say if you guys are playing like Starfinder or other sci-fi games, they have, or modern games too, they have clothing options and stuff that you can also make modern and sci-fi characters. So it's just not exclusive fantasy, which is nice. Because so it makes it also applicable to games like Pathfinder or Starfinder. If you're playing 5th edition, there's a couple sci-fi conversions like that I'm the ones I'm familiar with are Esper Genesis, and then there's also one called Hyperlanes, and then there's Starships and Starworms, another one. Yeah, tons of options. Minotaur. The one option I remember them taking away was the Mind Flayer due to legal reasons.
They had those up for like 2 days.
Yeah. But yeah, so even they got satyrs and stuff like they have everything. Here's the Furbolg. and they have Loxodon. And funny thing about the Loxodon, my group was playing Ravnica. My buddy was playing a Loxodon, so we had to do a custom sculpt. So this wasn't out yet, and literally after that mini was finished, they uploaded the Loxodon into Hero Forge. After we already did a custom sculpt and everything for him, we took a base of the Hero Forge mini, and then just my cousin sculpted a Loxodon head on it. And then literally after we were done, they uploaded the Loxodon. And here's some goblins.
One of my first characters was Snap Shimmer Shell Turtle Wizard, and they didn't have turtles at that point, so I did a like their Dragonborn type of thing, and just to make sure he had a big cloak behind him.
Oh. Yeah, see the bunch of goblins. So they have these are called Fairytale Goblins, which for me look like iconic goblins, big nose and the big ears. And they have like their original goblins, Furbolg, that's what they're calling them. And then they have the Pathfinder Goblins that are just called Goblinoids.
Oh yeah, big head.
So a lot of cool options. I really like Hero Forge. I can't complain. For those that want to see, let me pull up. So my group, I'm running them through Avernus, and this is the colored printed minis. I took a picture of this last night before we started, and they're not that bad. Obviously, you're going to get better results if you paint personally. Like you just spend the time painting. But yeah, if you don't got the skills, but you have the money, if it's $45 to $50 with shipping, you're not going to get a bad print. Certain colors vary. Obviously, you see the greens don't necessarily pop all the time. But these blues, blacks, purples, if you start them darker, it always prints lighter. So if you do that on them, they really do pop. Golds, I recommend anything that's metallic to make them a little darker, because the lighter you go, the lighter it's gonna. Yeah, but they my buddies are not artistically inclined. So they or they don't have the time to mini paint, so they just opted to spend the $50 on their minis and get them printed like this. I think next time I play, I'm going to do the same. Maybe do a little touch ups, but I'm probably going to do the same.
I still have all my vouchers from the Kickstarter for these color prints.
Oh man!
One thing I missed about playing AL was just popping out new characters every week, so I need new minis for them all the time.
Oh, I probably would have used all my vouchers. I actually missed the Kickstarter by a week. Actually, a couple days. Actually, I was like, okay, I'm gonna jump in on it, and missed it, and it was already done. Other option that I will be covering. Briefly covering this one. This was Eldritch Foundry. This is the direct competitor to Hero Forge, but they are kind of just starting. They only have two options for their prints, which is a $30 deluxe resin print, and then a digital copy, which is just cheaper. It's $4. These have a little bit more realistic look compared to the cartoonish look. They yet to have as many options as Hero Forge, but their quality, at least for what I'm seeing, is still comparable. Currently, Critical Role is using Eldritch Foundry in place of Hero Forge. Their latest couple, or for EXU, their Exandria Unlimited, they're using this. And I believe towards the end of campaign 2, they started using some Eldritch Foundry minis. So yeah, not to be like a call to authority, but like if Critical Role's using it, you guys can use it. But the quality, at least I've seen from them, fits. If you're looking for more realistic, and see they even got a Squid Folk or Deep Dweller, they're getting away with.
Yeah, that looks really, really good.
Yeah, but they have almost as many options as Hero Forge in terms of like race lineage selection. So yeah, I recommend this also if you want something more serious. You're not going to have as many clothing, and you can't do colored painted. So this is like Hero Forge at the beginning, where they didn't have the color painted and you can actually color your character into the directly into the character creator, but you're still going to get a great mini with a more realistic look. Some of the options, they have similar options to Hero Forge in terms of clothing, but they're different enough that we'll kit it out like you're from Killzone, old PlayStation. Oh, and then Stephen Harris says Eldritch Foundry also have a great customer service. So, well, that's good to hear that they're really, really good with how they treat their customers. I'm interested. I may next time may try something out with this one just to compare. All right, Eric, what do you have on your end?
All right, let's start off with what we've already kind of touched on. Whiz Kids. Whiz Kids is probably the most famous right now for minis, for D&D minis, and actually for Pathfinder minis nowadays too. Tons of really great unpainted options. So those are the Nolzers lines, and they have so many variants, and they are expanding out to do even kind of multi-class characters now, which I think is really neat. And those are very affordable. You get 2 minis for $4.99 for player character options, and so $2.50 for a primed mini. I don't know where you could beat that. I think it's great. But they also have pre-painted premium minis. So those are those are like their highest quality paint jobs that they can do. And you get $1 or 1 mini for $8 for the premium lines. And so those ones you see both, everything we've talked about just now, you see what you get inside the box, you know what you're ordering. So you know if you're getting like a dwarf fighter or whatever. But you can also get in the boxes, in the blind boxes that you open up, and there are 4 minis inside, but you don't know exactly what you got. So it's kind of like a gamble. We've got lots of options there to build out. There are starter sets of pre-painted character minis. They vary, but generally around 6 minis for $20. So it's a great deal, but you get exactly what you get with those. There's not a ton of variety, although there are even some more starter sets coming out now.
I've bought a couple Nolzers to print when I was in between characters for my Ravnica game, and they're super affordable, and the sculpts are really, really nice. Like like if you're looking for something that's iconic for the settings they're in, so it's like I believe with Nolzers, and then there's deep cuts, like the stuff for Pathfinder and all anything that's not D&D related.
There's Pathfinder battles, and then there's also deep cuts. And so now they're even doing just pure deep cuts that are completely unrelated to either game. That's just like a dolphin or a tiger or whatever.
Yeah, I think the Magic the Gathering stuff is under deep cuts because they are doing Magic the Gathering minis, and they're doing it for settings too that I saw with this that are not released on like in D&D at all. So it's like, anytime a setting for Magic comes out, they've released a couple minis for it, which I thought was interesting.
Yeah, so Whiz Kids is where you will almost certainly want to go if you want the official version of what the creature looks like. Just like we were talking about with Hero Forge, if you don't have that license to make those minis, it's not going to be exactly that. It's not going to look exactly like it's supposed to. It'll be similar, and it'll be totally fine for your table, but it's not official, and that matters to a lot of people. And if I can insert a bonus option here, also that has an official license to do D&D minis, Gale Force 9. I don't know of any actual player options, so they usually do more of like NPCs or monsters kind of thing. But those are all unpainted, and those are also Sprue type minis that you need to assemble and put together. And they're a little more expensive
right now.
And of course, all the frameworks that we just talked about for Whiz Kids.
Collector series. Oh, they're doing some Eberron stuff right now. So they got Lord of Blades. He's like the big, potentially big bad for one of an Eberron. He either a big bad or he's a good guy depending on how you play him. So he rules the Warforge in the Warnlands, trying to be their leader to pretty much give them a place in the setting.
Yeah, Gale Force 9 does a fantastic job with their minis. I would say they are higher quality than Whiz Kids minis, but they're also more expensive and often printed in small batches of like 1,500 kind of things.
Oh man!
Like I've got one of the they did a zombie T-Rex during Tomb of Annihilation, and I was like one of 1,500, and I haven't painted it yet. It's still in the box. I'm nervous because if I mess it up, like I don't think I'm gonna get another shot with it.
Yeah. Oh, and okay, I'm pulling up another one. They have Baphomet.
Yeah,
he looks wicked.
Yeah.
And I can see this, like, you get this one. This could also be a good for like a conversion, because I see kind of this little starry thing they're kind of doing with it, which is a little weird, but conversion for Theros 2, and
Oh
use it
yeah,
for
totally.
the god of Mogus, god of slaughter in that setting. Kind of has the same. These are wicked. I actually kind of like these more than the Whiz Kids ones in terms of
Yeah,
detail.
absolutely. But I mean, these are resin. These are, you have to assemble them. They're definitely more steps.
And here they go. They have Joe Manganiello's characters, Arc on the Cruel and the Dark Order.
Yeah.
So his Dragonborn paladin slash barbarian of Tiamat with the Hand of Vecna one hand. Then he has his turtle. Oh, the only thing is, I'm thinking like gonna dink the turtle one a little bit. Some of the images on the turtle has his like spiky shell out. And this one they covered it.
Well, he's a cleric, right?
Yeah, but
He's got to wear robes.
that big old turtle shell was sick. It was really sweet.
Well,
Yeah.
I can assure you that robe is easier to paint than all those spikes, or less annoying at least.
And then they got his Minotaur right here. And
Yeah.
like, even more detail on the Minotaur. The Minotaur has the symbol of Tiamat branded on his chest. Sweet.
Yeah.
Like I like Joe Manganiello's characters. They're very evocative, but they're very tailored to a very like metal, hardcore metal aspect of the game. Like stems from the 80s. But still, it's like since it's like that much of a callback, like they're okay with being like evil, but they'll still do good if they have to.
Yeah.
Very anti-hero.
And they've got some like frost giants and all sorts of old stuff. And because of that limited status, a lot of these, if you want to buy them, can be hundreds of dollars for the older limited ones.
Oh man! Oh, there's a bunch of pages. So click the last one.
Yeah, click an old one. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Trollteen Dinosaur Warrior. Oh, hold on. Serac.
Yeah, so I've got him too, but I'm so afraid. I'm so afraid to to paint any of these.
Okay, Stormking Cylinder. Okay, I'll show these off now. Tomb of Annihilation. Aceraki's the big bad. A lich. Oh man, the detail on this one's ridiculous, because like the basic one that Whiz Kids and the Unpainted painted one doesn't have this like little symbol on his chest. And then
yeah, 1500. Yeah.
Wicked though.
I should have grabbed the box. Yeah.
Oh man, wicked. Never got to finish Tomb of Annihilation. We're right at the tomb. That's where we left off. Here's some fire giants. Oh, that is sweet.
Yeah, their whole catalog is phenomenal.
I think I was looking at picking up Zerial, excuse me, from Avernus from them. It's actually cheaper than picking up the pre-painted one.
Yeah, pre-painted with the rares can get a little bananas.
I think pre-painted Zerial is $50 on the secondary market, and with through them it's 25.
You brought up a great point though. All those like Whiz Kids ones that I was talking about, the pre-painted ones from the booster boxes and the bricks and the big sets, those you can get so cheap for some of them. Like websites like miniaturemarket.com. I'm also not sponsored, but a big fan. And they do sales all the time. But some of the commons, like just regular like people minis, you can get them for like $1 kind of thing. So go take a look to see if there's anything specific you want. But you can.
Miniature Market's good. I really like them when I was like trying to build up a mini collection. That's who I was using.
Mm-hmm.
Is there any other mini companies?
Okay. Yeah. Briefly, I'd also Reaper Miniatures. They're out in Denton, Texas. They do a lot of really great minis, and they have a couple different materials. Their most popular, famous one is called Reaper Bones. Bones is the material. It's this white plastic. It's incredibly durable. You can throw it off a skyscraper and have it run over by a car, and it'll probably be okay and bend back into shape. But the downside is the detail isn't as sharp as a lot of other things. But they've also got Reaper Bones Black, which is similar material, but it's a lot harder. So the details are a lot sharper. But I'm not calling it brittle, but it's more brittle than Bones. So you'd be more likely to break a Bones Black than a regular Bones. And then there's a third new material called Reaper Bones USA, which is kind of in the middle, and that's the new hotness. So I expect to see lots of Bones USA, and it's also, I believe, actually made here in the USA, which is why they call it that. And they've also got a whole metal line, like good old school metal minis. I mean, you can get a Reaper Bones character for $2.99, and they have, or if you go to ReaperCon, you can get them for cheaper in a little vending machine for 25 cents.
What the heck? Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. One time I got a couple years ago at ReaperCon, I got a Bones Black, like an orc wizard kind of thing before Bones Black was out, and that was like the grand prize from the little vending machine. It was one of those old school. You put the coin in and you twist it, and then the plastic ball comes out, and you open it up.
Yeah, I want to call them gotcha.
Gotcha.
Yeah, but I know what it is. Yeah. It's Japanese. That's what it is. But
okay.
Yeah, it's the same thing. It's just a little ball, and put your quarter in and get it out. Stephen Harris said, keep an eye on Kickstarter. If you're willing to put a larger chunk of cash, the return value can be pretty great.
Yep. Yeah, no, so he's totally right. So Reaper also does Reaper Bones Kickstarter, where they have a whole like ridiculous value. You get hundreds and hundreds of minis for like, it works out to like 50 cents a mini kind of thing. It's crazy. But he also mentions Blacklist. Yeah, I did a Blacklist minis. It's another company. I did their Kickstarter. I'm still waiting for that to show up. I get global pandemic, blah blah blah. But I do want to go back to Reaper for a second. So I said at the start, I love a lot of what Reaper does, but a lot of their female minis have some anatomical issues that I don't like.
Oh, yep. Your last couple streams, or your last stream actually, mentioned it quite a bit whenever a female mini came up. Let me see. Okay, actually, this one's
just sort by female. Yeah,
this one's actually not that bad. I don't know why this is sorted by male. That is definitely not a dude. Let me see.
Oh yeah, so that's a good one. That's a great one. That's a brand new one, in fact.
A female.
Yeah, it's USA. Yeah.
Okay, when you can kind of tell.
So, outside of any issues that I have with that, if you have new players and you're like, hey, everybody, we're new to D&D, go get some minis. Oh, I hear Reaper's the cheapest. Let's do that. Be careful just blindly sending them to the website. Maybe make some selections first, because a lot of players, if you just, this is what they see, they can be put off. I mean, it's like that one. There you go.
You can,
like
you
that's
can tell.
One of their like old, yeah.
You can tell the very provocative, very
And their mascot, so Sophie, click on Sophie. Sophie is their like icon, their mascot, and it's stuff like that.
Yeah,
so I love so much of what Reaper does, but then this whole section is just troublesome.
Bunch of Sophies right here, and they're very, very provocative in their wear and their dances.
Yeah. And I see that dog. Also, and this I don't have a problem with. I just think it's funny. A lot of their animals, like dogs and wolves and stuff, are fully anatomically correct. Which I like. Even their hellhounds are fully loaded.
Oh,
yeah.
Cat folk monk.
So when you're sitting there at 2 a.m. and you're painting these tiny little bits, it's like, what am I doing?
Question life at that point.
Yeah.
At 2 a.m. and I'm painting little dogs' genitals.
Yeah.
All right. Any other minis? Reaper's a big one. Actually, if you guys get a chance, go check out Eric Fryminis' big old unboxing. He finally got his Reaper Bones in. Yeah, go check that out.
Yeah, so that unboxing, we didn't even order every possible add-on, but it took 4 hours to unbox it. So if you go to youtube.com/Fryminis and then click on the lives, I've got that there. And if I can throw that out there, ReaperCon is Reaper's big convention every year, and they were virtual last year. This year it's back on, and they do mega bundles and just regular boxes where you can get like minis and paints and lots of things that are exclusive to the convention. You can order them from their website. In the past, you would buy them and you'd pick them up in the convention, but this year they shipped them ahead of time. So that's a great way to get some really cool, hard to get minis. And I've got an unboxing, little promo, an unboxing for that at 5:00 Central today. So in about 3 hours on my channel.
Definitely go over there, show support. Go check out Eric as he pops open more minis. I will be in the chat section there also. Kind it up with everybody. All right. Any other? We got Whiz Kids and we got Reaper. I
sure.
have one.
Okay.
I have one more.
I'll give you one last one. On Amazon, I don't remember the name of it. I'm sure somebody in the chat does. But there are some. If you just search like D&D miniatures, there's this brand. It's like black and red, and they are garbage quality. They are terrible. But if you're brand new and you just need something to throw on the table, it's a great option.
Might be something like this. There's pull it up for everybody that you guys can see. There's I've seen these a lot. Like you can just get like like for $30 you can get like a batch of just different minis. They're not really high quality sculpts and stuff, but like they're just grays. Yep. But they'll do the job. There's a few companies that do this. This one's probably the one that has like a better quality that I'm showing on screen, but there's some that are like very isometric, very like they look like PlayStation 1 characters from back in the day for those games. But yeah, like you can find them and dirt cheap. Like this is $30 for 38 minis.
Look up SCS Direct. So like 56 monsters for $20. but they're like terrible quality. But again, when you're starting out the hobby and you just need something to have an idea of what's going on.
Yeah, let me them. Okay, right here. Just they're like the old kid plastic toys, like the army men. Mm-hmm. But yeah, this will do the job. This is all you need.
Yeah.
Honestly, like this kind of stuff's also probably better because I saw they have like a bunch of skeletons and stuff. If you just need a bunch of like mass army of junky monsters, just minion monsters, probably the route to go instead of like trying to go through Whiz Kids or Reaper or something that you're trying to get like a bunch of like the same one, because that will cost you. Getting something like this, and because they're minion monsters, you don't really need detail on them. Yeah,
the scale is all over the place, though.
Okay. Yeah, I see this fairy. This fairy is bigger than this dwarf. Yeah. Okay. But yeah, like, see, yeah, you can see there's a couple skeleton monsters in there. It's like that's perfect for kind of like what you need for the game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
I have one more thing. This is going to be for non-minis. This is a alternate option. Tactical tokens, for those not familiar with it, do like pretty much writable dry erase tokens that you can just number. They have them in color and they have them in plain, but they have an option for custom tokens, and they'll print one custom token for $3.55. But the larger batch you order them in, the cheaper it becomes. So and you can also pick the size and stuff. They also have a stamp maker that could, and see, this is their starter pack where you can just buy a bunch of the blanks. The more you buy, the cheaper it becomes. You buy in bulk. But they also have a stamp maker right here that you can upload your custom character. Say you're kind of on a tight budget and your group is using tokens instead of minis. That's still viable. You guys could order together, upload a bunch of pictures, and just custom tokens for character with the image and whatever image you want from the internet, and there you go. It's pretty much a another way to kind of bring the online experience back to the table if you want to do that. But yeah, they're pretty cheap. For DMs out there, I recommend this if you don't want to buy a bunch of skeletons and goblins. I would actually go through tactical tokens and then go buy a bunch of just blank tokens that you can write on and use them. I've been using these a lot, and they come in different sizes. Then they also have, so you can see this big bundle, but this is like, there's more in here than what they're showing. Is 222 tokens. So that's why it's like $200. But you can buy like a small batch and for like $25 to $30. and they're different sizes. Then they also have like stuff like this, their tactical drop, which actually already has printed on there, and you could still write on them. So their statics, conditions, and stuff. The dry erase, but then you can just buy a bunch of these.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah, so they're a decent price option, so like $1 a piece. At times you can make custom options. I've used these personally, and then, even then, see, you can go through them, just get a basic hero pack as different characters already pre-printed on them. You don't want to go the custom route. And then for the online players, Token Stamp 2 is the free option on this list. For those don't want to pay the Hero Forge subscription to get access to their token maker, you just go. This is a free. You can take any piece of art, drag it into. Let's see if I could some art in here, and then just drag it. All quick tutorial.
Am I crazy that I always just do that in Photoshop?
Yeah, if you don't have Photoshop skills either, like if you don't have the Photoshop program or like an adjacent like Clip Studio Art or and GIMP is a free one. This does it all in browser.
That's cool.
So let's just take a goblin, just resize it, and then you also for DMs that are doing online online play. This also is good for making little minion tokens. On top of this, you can change the style of the border, like that, and then also change the color. And it has like a full color, full chroma color selection, so you can just.
I've seen that orangey yellow one many, many times.
And this one. That and do a bunch of different colors, purple, whatever. And and then you just save it on your computer and then just upload it to whatever VTT you're using. And but it's free. A free option. It's rolladvantage.com/tokenstamp. And it's a easy free tool. You can take any image you find on the internet, drag it in there, and I recommend that one. So yeah. Other than that's pretty much all our big list of like many options.
Can I throw two more in?
Yeah, go for it.
Are we too long? Stephen Harris had a great point. A thing called Pathfinder Pawns. These are little cardboard pieces. You get a giant box of them, and I don't know the price, but it's for what you get. It's an incredibly good deal, and it's just like little piece of cardboard. Each side has a different monster or whatever. There's also printable heroes or something. Like little Arc Knight or something.
Okay, yeah, I've done
pieces.
I've used Arc Knight for their early on when for actual terrain because I didn't want to go full on like building stuff at the time. But they do really great stuff. They have some really great art on there.
No. And then this will be my last one for real. I've got a bunch of coin. They're just plastic tokens. And like 0 through 9 in red, yellow, blue, and green. And then so you just put down, so all the reds are goblins, all the greens are bugbears. And then you say, I want to attack red 1, I want to attack green 2, whatever. Dead simple, $9 or something on Amazon. Or any I imagine if you go to like a school, like a teacher store, you could get them in like learning to count tokens or something like. I don't know.
Okay, yeah, they're
incredibly easy.
Yeah, incredibly easy. I know which ones you're talking about. They're kind of similar to the tactical tokens, but they're definitely a lot cheaper. They're kind of like little.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
About the size of a quarter, maybe. Little plastic pieces.
We're going to transition to the last little segment here. We're running a little over today, but that is perfectly fine. All right.
Sorry about that. It's all me.
It's all good. All right. We're going to go into the last segment. We're going to do build of the. We're going to go into build challenge of the week. So for those unfamiliar with the build challenge, I put up a character build challenge for everybody on the community and in the Discord. To this week is most of all the answers actually just came from the community page. Or struggling with perfectly fine. I don't know if I'm not wording everything correctly, what's going on, but setting everything. So, you guys are gonna see the last thing I asked. Kind of get it into some of the Strixhaven stuff. Also, as a request to make it easier to build a character on the community page, they asked me, why don't I just take Magic the Gathering cards and use that as the basis, give people more free range to build a character on. So they could take inspiration from the art, the name of the character, the creature type, and the abilities to try to create something unique to them. So this art, I love the character art on this one. It's this dwarf that is pulling out this electric ball. So I said, make this dwarf hero based on the card below. So Ignacio pretty much said he wanted to build a 2nd level Artificer, 10th level Conjuration Wizard. It would be a hill dwarf, focus on intelligence and constitution. Use your ASIs to improve your intelligence. And that at level 10, the reason he wanted to go level 10 Conjuration, because the Conjuration Wizards can't lose concentration on their Conjuration spells. So they don't need to take stuff like Warcaster. Background, they said this character would be a failed inventor. That's why he starts off as an artificer, and he chose to just jump into wizard, to just leave the mechanics behind and focus all on his magic to summon elementals and other creatures. All right, so that one's actually pretty cool. I love this art. It fits really, really well with this. Wizard Artificer is like the new go-to build for a lot of it, like for optimizing intelligence-based characters, because at least a level 1 Artificer gets you everything that you armor, con, saving throw, proficiencies, more spells, and they all go off your main stat.
Wounds,
yeah, and also healing. Exactly, you get access to healing. Before the Artificer, it was Knowledge Cleric 1, Wizard everything else. But now, since you don't need to have a high Wisdom, you Artificer 1, you don't get the expertise you would get off a Knowledge Cleric, but that's a lot of builds that are like that. The NPC drop in another cool one. The character's name is Fogroom Thundergrog. They would be a hero dwarf, 20th level Artificer, so going straight Artificer, and they would be an armorer. And they would be, based off of what he's saying, it would be provide the lightning aspect that is depicted in the picture, so that means he'd be the Thunder Fist. And he wanted to go all the way to 20 because of the Soul of the Artifice feature. This ability allows you to add +1 to saving throws for every magic item that you're attuned to. Matches a Stormkilling Artist ability that allows you to get +1 for every artifact you control, which is very interesting, and that is a neat way to tie that character ability into build. Pretty much it would be Soul of Artifice would be one of the main abilities. Obviously, Infiltrator Armor, so actually opting to go with the range build. Use the Lightning Launcher and getting spells like Lightning Bolt and other lightning-related spells on the Artificer spell list. In terms of this character's story, Fogroom Thundergrog was a scientist at Seaside Laboratory. While working there, he witnessed a storm that almost destroyed the entire lab, and the city surrounded by it. Most of those who stormed quickly became afraid of storms and therefore lightning. Fogroom Thundergrog became obsessed with storms and, for the most part, lightning. He wanted to know how he could make it and how he could use it. He then spent the rest of his life devoting to lightning. Along the way, he hired adventurers to retrieve different materials for him while he worked. And now we find him working on his newest, biggest creation. That is pretty sweet, and that's another way, kind of like, you could also take this character and be a Storm Sorcerer. Also with that background. But yeah, I really liked how NPC included the ability for this character gets +1 for every artifact they control. That is very easy to do in Magic, for those familiar with the game. Especially with the other ability of creating treasure tokens, which technically are artifacts. Got 2 more. Hibin said that this fits for Crafter War Tank Mage build. So Mountain Dwarf using Artificer 1, Wizard 9. Good old multi-class Wizard Artificer again. And using the Guild Artisan background. And mainly getting the con saving throws and stuff. And then Robin had a really awesome one. It was a Mountain Dwarf. Also Armor Artificer, but this one, Tempest Cleric. Armor gives us Thunder Gauntlets, which fits nicely into the Storm theme, and Tempest Cleric complements it nicely, adding benefits to the Thunder damage. So they would be a literal thunder tank. Ability focus. Yeah, this is actually really, really awesome build. It really unique. Ability to focus on wisdom and intelligence, with constitution being the next highest. Everything else would be dumped. So all brains, no brawn. Then for the feats, I would say elemental add up would be the best choice to start giving our focus on thunder, and then whatever else sounds fun. Very straightforward build. They tied this one actually into Strixhaven. So as for the story, there's a lot of ways this can go. A dwarf pirate who roams the seas, who runs around bonking people, or a mad scientist who has grown over more obsessed with storm magic, or something similar to the Prismari in Strixhaven and focus on using storm magic as an art form. Or an adopted kid of a storm giant who's determined to become strong as their storm papa. I really like this build. This is really interesting. You don't see too many people opting to do Artificer cleric builds. But yeah, I like that. That is pretty sweet. Right.
Those are all very clever. I'm impressed.
Yeah, I'm liking the builds that people have been posting up for this. I'm loving these challenges. Again, thank you guys for posting and contributing to the build. I will be continuing to do this. I really like what you guys are coming up with. I'll do different ways, so it won't always be a magic card. Sometimes it might just be straight art or something that WotC posts, or something I just come up with on the fly. Again, thank you guys. Again, if you want to contribute to this, it will be posted weekly, most likely every Wednesday, on the community page on YouTube and also on the Dungeoneer Pack Discord. You can find a link to the community page going just straight to the Dungeoneer Pack YouTube page, and again, Discord link to the official Dungeoneer Pack Discord is in the description below. Other than that, that should be it.
I would love to see you do like a one shot where your awesome community here designs the build for every character in the one shot.
You know what? Next time I do a one shot, I think I'm going to do that. I think I'll have them create a build for me. I haven't dabbled into live streaming yet with everyone. Actually, that is a good idea. Maybe we can figure something.
If you need another player, let me know. Yeah.
And some little announcements. What's going on with the channel for the next couple weeks? Still weekly videos will be up. Unfortunately, the next 2 weeks I will not be here on the weekends. I have to go out of town to handle personal matters. I'm preparing for a wedding in the next couple years. So where me and my fiance are going to go to a wedding convention, and then we got a family vacation the following weekend. So no Dungeoneer Pack lives the next 2 weeks. Sorry, but but as soon as I get back, I will be back roaring, ready to go. So there probably won't be question of the weeks, or there'll probably be question of the weeks, but they won't be featured on the stream. And unfortunately, I won't be able to do streams on the Fridays because a couple of those days I actually had to dip out on a Friday. Other than that, still expect to see weekly videos. And if you haven't checked out the Goblin video, please do. It was very fun, and I actually worried a little bit just because the subject matter we're covering that. But I'm glad that people were really receptive of it and enjoyed it. So if you haven't checked it out, go check it out. It's how to play a goblin. It will dig into some of the problematic issues of the goblin, but also how to take the goblin lore and use it to play your character in Forgotten Realms or any standard fantasy. But also, I will take a look at the other 5th edition settings and how goblins fit in there and how you can use those to inspire a different kind of character. So if you haven't checked it out, please do. I'm planning to do more of these race ones. I want to stick to monstrous and plain touch races for a bit before delving into the good old human, dwarf, elf, and halfling. What are the rings kind of? Next week, expect more feats videos because that's pretty much. Eric, where can the fine people find you?
Cool. Yeah. Well, first, thanks for having me. This was a blast. I hope you enjoyed it. I sure did.
You're welcome. I would love to have you on again. Other topics also.
Totally. So fryminis.com. That's got links to everything, but youtube.com/fryminis. I've got Instagram, Fryminis, FRYMINIS. I post my painted minis there. I got a live stream in 2.5 hours. We're going to open up that mega bundle, ReaperCon mega bundle we were talking about, and see what's in there. Yeah, it's a nice looking website, right?
Nice and clean.
Yeah, thanks. And of course, that bottom right one, but I'm not gonna do a plug for that on your channel.
Now go, you guys. If any content creator has a Patreon, honestly, that's probably the most direct way to support any content creator. Yeah. If you got the funds to it, so yeah, definitely go support Eric here. He has way more stuff, and he offers way more stuff than I do on my Patreon. But yeah, honestly, a lot of this stuff, it's really worth it. Definitely join in. I will plug your Discord for you. Definitely go to his Discord. And if you're painting minis, every Friday he has a group of us. He will join in, him, his wife. I've popped in a couple times, and yeah, we paint minis.
Yeah, please come have fun. And obviously Discord's all free, so come check it out.
So yeah, you can go to Fryminis. Yeah, you can go to Fryminis.com, get the Discord link there, and I believe you can find it on his
all the videos
and all the videos and on his YouTube page too. Definitely go support. Again, thank you for coming by, and if you want to support either of us, actually, best free way is to like, comment, subscribe, and share all our videos. You can do that for us on here on Fryminis and on Dungeoneer's Pack. That kicks it into the algorithm, so that YouTube knows that you guys are enjoying stuff. Again, you want to support Dungeoneer's Pack or Fryminis directly, Patreon's the best way to do it. For me, it's Dungeoneer's Pack on Patreon, and you have memberships also, right? On YouTube?
Yeah, brand new. I just started those.
Yeah. So either of us too. Another way to do it, if you just want to stick and stay with YouTube and stay in the YouTube ecosystem, we both have memberships, so you can directly support us directly there. Other than that, catch us on all our socials. I am at Dungeoneer's Pack YT on Facebook, Dungeoneer's Pack on Instagram, and DPackYT on Twitter. Where can they find you on your socials?
Fryminis, Fryminis, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, everywhere. No Facebook though. I'm not a Facebook guy.
I'm gonna say this. I'm missing out. Missing
out. I've got. Yeah, we won't talk about my problems with Facebook. They're bigger than this.
Again, thank you guys for showing up. No Dungeoneer's Pack live for 2 weeks. But in 2 weeks I will be back. And again, thank you guys for showing up. Thank you, Eric, for coming by, and you guys can have a good.
Cool. Thank you. Thanks, everybody.